wave came in the 1960s through the 1980s, and women here focused on their rights in the workplace and reproductive rights. So this is like after World War II, and during World War II, women were taking a lot of part in the manufacturing industry and just the workplace in general. And then when the men came back, they were like, oh, you need to go back to the house. And that's when like the 1950s came into like this kind of like, it went backwards actually, the 1950s. Mm-hmm. You know, women were back in the house, and then in the 1960s when the civil rights movement came along, also prompted like the second wave of like women's rights in the workplace, and also it marked the first time that we had a movement towards reproductive rights. You know, things that we're still struggling with right now.
And part of that era that you guys might have heard, court cases like Roe v. Wade, which made abortion legal. But we're obviously still fighting that fight. It's the era of Rosie the Riveter, the little, you know, an icon during that time that basically declare that women can do more, and they can do kind of the same jobs as men, and they don't just have to stay in the house.
It wasn't, and the thing about this was that it wasn't just like, oh, women can be, you know, teachers and nurses, which are more nurturing careers, and they're more feminine careers. No, these women can, I can actually build a car, or I can build weapons. Like, I can be in a manufacturing place and do the time to get my hands dirty, and that's like the workplace that we're talking about.
Other women that are notable in that time, more towards the 60s and 70s. Gloria Steinem was a huge leader in that movement. Also, women like Angela Davis were big names during that time. So these are kind of just things that you may have heard if you came in contact with feminism. This is the kind of background and where those names take place in our history. So now we come to the third wave of feminism, which is what we're currently in right now.
Right, and during this third wave right now, we are still struggling with similar issues that we encountered during the second wave. So we're still looking not for just women to be in the workplace, but now it's more about equal payment in the workplace. And then when it comes to reproductive rights, it's more about the legalization of abortion and women having the right to their own bodies. And I just want to point out something that we're still struggling with today, something that came from the second wave also, was this separation between white feminism and black feminism. And black feminism is also referred to as intersectional feminism, which we're going to get into. So there are many different types of feminism. There's socialist, liberal, radical, cultural, and they're all feminists, but they say their beliefs are a little different. Basically, they say, for example, that change comes from maybe not with race or with equal pay, but from something else. So, for example, a radical feminist believes that change comes from eliminating gender completely. Everything gender neutral. They even converse about how to create embryos outside of a woman's body so that it could be even more neutral, you know, not to say like, oh, men can't do it. So like men and women, like it has to be completely equal, and you know, they just want everything to be gender neutral, which I personally don't believe is a way to go. That's kind of like saying, well, to eliminate racism, I'm gonna eliminate race. So I don't know, but that's like one of the beliefs, and I'm definitely gonna link some information down below about all of these types of ladies. This other one called separatist, and I think that's what I was when I was younger, because their belief is that change comes from focusing solely on women and girls, and that men should be excluded from their conversation and any kind of social reform, which is completely different than something like he for she, which we will talk about later.
I feel like that's what most people think feminism
is.
Just like women want to take over.
We are actually intersectional feminists. So our core belief is that we can't have equality in a world where we still have sexism, where we still have racism and other things that are part of us. So class, age, religion, economic background, all of those things affect who we are and who we are as a woman. And we cannot just eliminate them and just say all women should be equal. We had a conversation earlier, about a month ago, talking about like women with hijabs and you know, are they being oppressed and are they feminists? It's like we need to consider those things when we speak on women's issue. That it's not just, you know, white women or only black women. It's everybody all mixed in together. And that's like the kind of feminism that we kind of promote and here and just in general in our life.